Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali. I'm a final year medical student at Cambridge University.
And I'm Ibrahim Mohammed, also known as Ibz Mo, and I study psychological and behavioural science at Wolfson College, Cambridge.
Today, we're going to be talking about revision tips. For the two people that might not know who you are, can you give us a quick...
So, I mean, like, I'm a terrorist, I'm joking. We're demonetized. So I'm a YouTuber at Cambridge, yeah, and basically I document my time here being used to be being a person of colour, being a working class person, coming from my background, which I went to like the ghetto school and then get into Cambridge. I think one reason why people appeal to me is because like my GCSEs were 2 Bs, 3 Cs, 2 Ds, because of like all these reasons, and then when I did A levels, I just worked. Can I say arse?
You can say what you like.
I worked my arse off and I got like my 2 A stars and 2 As, and then I just got into Cambridge. And I think I had to like really learn how to study, had to learn how to revise. So A levels for me was just like all or nothing, work hard.
Anyway, yeah, so Ibz is a super inspiring YouTuber. Everyone loves him. Channel will be linked down below and here and everywhere else. So please check him out if you are one of the 2 or 3 people maybe who don't know who he is.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw literally everyone I meet like knows you. I was like, oh my god, it's fangirl and all that.
And now they'll be like, oh my god, it's Ali.
One day. Anyway, today we're talking about study tips. We're talking about how to efficiently revise for your exams, and we're going to be having a conversation with us on like how we do it. And we both studied psychology. I did it for my 3rd year. You're doing it for pretty much whole degree. And there is a lot of stuff in the field of psychology about effective study techniques and all that. So I'm going to be doing a series on this channel in depth in a few weeks' time, but this is going to be like a broad brush overview where you get the perspective of a medic and also a PBS student who does like science and arts and stuff.
As an exclusive,
yeah.
What is your series called?
It's called
Do you have a name?
Evidence-based study tip. I don't know. I haven't thought of it.
We'll
what do you reckon?
Evidence-based studies. Yeah, maybe.
Is that a bit
should
boring?
I have an acronym?
Ebst.
Ebst.
That's not very clickbaity though.
That's true.
I want more of a clickbaity, like how to smash your exams with these these 2 simple steps.
Everyone's done that.
Everyone has done
but
that.
But that's like the views.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. It's a balancing act. Anyway, study tips. So, how do you write an essay? What's your process?
It depends. So with psychology, especially at Cambridge, we have 2 sides of it. We have like the more humanities side and the science side. And with the humanities side, because my A-levels were sociology and English and I just have a lot of experience in humanities. Yeah. My process is to obviously get the question and I do 3 drafts. My first draft is where I word vomit everything I know on this Word document. I'll have like, the deadline will be there, except the word limit will be 2,000 words. I have like 5,000 words of vomit.
Okay, yeah.
And then I have the second draft where I take every single point and I make a new document.
Yeah.
And then I just like read it through, edit it, make it nice, put some evidence, link it back. And then I have a final draft where I put everything together and I just go through it again, link back, make sure my reference is okay. But my main process of studying is look at the question and what are my initial thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. Usually they say do the reading list first. I'm just like, you know what, I'm too old for this. What's my initial thoughts? And then I put that in my essay plan. And then if I don't have any initial thoughts, I do the reading list, which is so long. Because I feel like they'll give you a textbook that's like, let's just say it's, read this text and the text is called like text A. And then read text B, text C, text D. And like the title of text A will be like clinical psychology. And then you have to go deep in it just to find the one paragraph and link to the bloody, like, they're so, they don't just, that's why I miss textbooks. But anyway, so I just will have to read and find links and then link it together. But one thing about psychology is they love evidence.
They absolutely do.
And so there have been times where I winged it. I was like, you know, I don't need evidence of that. I was like, it's fine. And it was about, what was it about, like how we develop language?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, just throw some theory. And then my supervisor was like, what's this?
Yeah.
You gave me a half-baked essay.
Oh mate.
So I do lots of evidence and lots of reading, but psychology is fun because you get to read like articles and like abstracts.
Yeah.
So for example, I read abstract and I'm done. I don't really go through the whole thing.
Abstract and the conclusion at best is what I go for.
My conclusions are always crap. My conclusions are like, to conclude, this is the end.
This is the end.
And I always leave something like, this topic is so important because the future of psychology.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we need interventions to make the world a better place. My introductions are always the last. Because I feel like here we have to say in this essay.
Yeah.
I say in this analysis.
Yeah. Oh.
I know.
That's a nice way of phrasing it.
It's in this essay, and then like you have to say what you're gonna say in the essay.
Yeah.
But sometimes I will say I'm gonna do A B C D, but I will just do ABC. So I now leave my introduction last.
Oh okay. Yeah.
But I just like ABC.
That's a really good point as well, and I think this applies to GCSE and A-level exams as well. When I was doing it, we'd look at the mark schemes, and it would say that you get the highest marks for sustained argument, i.e. where you say what you're going to say in the introduction and then you sustainedly argue it throughout, as opposed to the standard thing of introduction and then for against, and then in your conclusion you like wait for the conclusion before telling the reader what your thesis is, what your like discussion is. I think it's really good to state it in advance, and I discovered this in like second year. I absolutely love it. Like they see an outline of your essay, they're like, oh, in this essay I will argue that. Blah, blah, blah.
I think that's very different to sociology A level, because they love it. They love a debate.
Oh, do they?
And I was when I did my essays for my A level, I would take you on a journey with me. I will show you the world quite a lot. And I would literally be like, this point, then I'd be like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and then I come to a final thing. They loved it. But I felt with psychology, because it's more scientific, they just want what's the answer?
What's the answer? Evidence.
And when I would write all creative, like, well, maybe, perhaps this, they're like, no, scribble that out, write normal, basic sentences. And I'm like, that's not my background. But that's the hardest thing. But yeah, they just want clear answers, essays.
Yeah, but as you said, you know,
instructions.
It's really useful to plan the essay in advance. There is quite a few studies as well about doing spider diagrams where you have your topic in the middle and then you just give your broad brush strokes overview. I do the click thing because I know then when to cut. And it's just become a tick, because then you see the little spike in the audio. But I forget to do it sometimes. Anyway, yeah.
One thing, but with essays, right? So, do you do essays?
Used to in undergrad.
Why?
It's like
that's what I don't understand, because I think
describe and explain the function of the sodium-potassium pump.
Oh my god, I know that. That's in the wait. It's neurobiology.
It's in what biology?
Neurobiology.
It is, yeah.
And it's it's action potentials.
Yes, yeah.
It's in the neurons.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what it is. In fact, the sodium-potassium pump takes up 40% of the energy in our body because it's just like everywhere and all on neurons.
Okay, let's just calm down.
Anyway, yeah.
But anyway, so with essays, right? Like, the reason why I find essays well is because in my exams I do essays, but sometimes I feel like, how do you memorize the essay?
Oh, right. I've got the perfect tactic for this.
Because we've got how many? They give us like 2 days to do one essay,
yes.
right?
But then in the exam you've got like an hour to.
What's that?
Absolutely smash.
That's why I don't get it, and our essays don't even count. So how do you revise for exams and not essays?
Okay. So in third year I did psychology. Our exams were essay based. It was entirely essays. We had 4 papers that were 3 essays each, and you had to do each essay in an hour. And my tactic for this, which I've been sharing with everyone who asks me, how do I get a first in psychology? Because lots of medics do it.
You got a first?
I got a first. I came top of the year actually in my third year in psychology, because of this tactic. Well, not top of the year, joint top of the year. This other girl was really good as well. Anyway, what I did was I made about 50 essay plans, and I predicted what possible essay titles they could feasibly ask based on the lecture notes and the subjects. And I committed all 50 of those essay plans to memory by just drawing spider diagrams over and over again. And each essay plan had like 7 different references. I obviously didn't read the references. I just, read a review paper that referenced the reference, and then I, memorized that, oh, Hodgkins and Huxley in 1942 did a study where blah, 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 blah. So I had this bank of like 50 essay plans in my head. And then on the actual exam, of the 12 essays we had to do, 8 of them were already prepared. And the other 4, because I had all these other essay plans in my head, I just kind of dragged and dropped. So I made like a spider diagram in just before starting the exam of what it was going to be, and then just kind of wrote it out.
Do you have a photographic memory?
No, not in the slightest. It was literally just this tactic of doing a spider diagram. And also spaced repetition. That's another absolutely magical technique that is the secret weapon of everyone sort of like all these efficient study techniques.
What the hell is spaced repetition?
Right. So you're probably familiar with the idea that if when you read something and then you come back to it like a week later, you realise you've forgotten most of it, and you're like, when did I ever read this? And I used to have this, and for me, I used to kind of think that it's a bit of a waste of time, because what's the point of going to this lecture if I know I'm just going to forget it like by next week? And I would just kind of try and brute forces by repeating. But what they've done studies about this, I might show up a graph if I can find one, is that it's like you forget at an exponential rate. Like if you revise something today, you'll probably forget it, most of it by tomorrow, and then almost all of it by the day after. But if you revisit it tomorrow, then you go back up again. And then it takes you longer to forget it. So if you do it again a week later, it takes you maybe a month to forget it. So if you do it a month later...
So it's just been revised and go back.
Exactly, but like in a spaced fashion. So I used to do is I made a spreadsheet of like my topics, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm doing these ones on day 1. And then the next day I would repeat those. And then I would say a week later I'm going to repeat those. And then a month later I'm going to repeat those. And when I started doing this, I had about 3 months left until the exams, which is kind of what we have now until A-levels. So making this kind of timetable where you actively space your repetition out, I think that's like the main reason.
Okay, wow.
Have you ever tried that?
I feel like that's just revision.
It is just revision, yeah. It's spaced revision.
With
it's all about being spaced.
essay plan, so I did that for psychology, where I think I was, well, I don't think it was near the top 50. I was able to be like, whatever question you gave me, bam,
it's gonna go.
And I could think of all of my AO1s and all of my AO2s and all of my all of my paragraphs. I could think of them, all my points like that. But for this year, I don't know at Cambridge, I feel like because it's just a lot more hard, a lot more intense.
Yeah.
But then maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just thinking like that. But I feel like to memorize essay plans, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, 50. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. But you start off small and then.
And that was for one paper or for all 4
papers?
papers?
No, for all of them.
Oh.
So for each paper, I only memorized about 10 to 15 essay plans. And that covered the basis of at least 3 questions that I could answer.
Yeah, essay plans are really good. Yeah, essay plans. I always say this. Everyone's like, show me essay plan. For me, why is it printing? What the hell could it possibly print? Okay, anyways.
Essay plans.
With my essay plans, I just do like title. I do box points.
Box points, what's
So
that?
I do a grid of 12.
Yeah.
And I have like introduction, conclusion, and then I just do little words in between.
Okay.
And so for example, like just a title or like title arrow this, and then I memorize it. And I can memorize it like the morning before the exam.
I see, okay.
But I only do that for revision.
Yeah.
And I only do it for exams. I feel like the reason why my grades haven't been this great, I'll be getting like 2 1s and 2 2s this year, is because I don't put the effort in, because it's essays that don't go towards our final grade.
Yeah, so in a way.
Because now we've got exam season and it is about our final grade, then I can start doing all these methods.
Yeah.
I thought that's really cool though. Yeah, I think it's just essay plans in the space recognition.
Spaced repetition.
Well, that's all you need.
So we've talked about essay plans, we've talked about spaced repetition. We'll just talk about one more thing. And that is the other magic weapon of all these efficient study techniques.
Listen, you got all these magic things, man. You better
basically
share
2.
it.
Number 1 is spaced repetition, and number 2, they call it active recall. Basically, it means testing yourself in a low stakes fashion, like, not in the exam, like consistently asking yourself questions. Do you use this?
Yeah, all the time. And I feel like now that I live with my flatmate who does my same course, we do it all the time. Or we try to bring in jokes. We'll be like, oh, that's why you know language development because of PRJ or because of this person. So yeah, I feel like I just try to bring it in like everyday context, everyday discussions.
Yeah, that's a great way of doing it. That's what I do with medicine stuff with my friends. Like while we're eating lunch or something, one of us would just throw a question out there. And usually, depending on the crowd, like some people are like, oh, why are we talking about medicine? But some of us love it. I love talking about medicine personally. Active recall, really, really important. So things you can do. There's a really good quote from some guy whose name I used to know for my exam.
Ibz Mo.
Probably. And it goes along the lines of, the retrieval of a fact from within the brain is far more important than the putting of that fact into the brain or something. So it's a lot more poetic than that. I'll flash it up over here. But basically it means that when you try and recall facts from your brain, that is a lot more efficient than trying to put them back in. And I think a lot of times what we do when we're revising for exams is that we read and then we reread, reread again. But there's a study whereby they got loads of university students to read this passage of text and answer questions about it. So for one group of them, they got them to read it once and then answer the questions. For another group, they got them to read it 4 times and then answer the questions. For another group, they got them to read it once, do a mind map, and then answer the questions. And for the final group, they got them to read it once and then just try and think of answers to questions, just active recall it. And like obviously the read once group did the worst. The read 4 times group did the second worst. The mind map group did a bit better than the 4 times reading. But the final group that just read it once and tried to recall those facts, they did the best. So this study kind of showed that, just trying to test yourself in a low stakes fashion is 4 times more efficient than just rereading the same thing over and over again. And I think this is the biggest problem that I see with my friends who, especially in the school days, who used to say stuff like, oh, it takes me 3 hours to get through a science topic. It's because all they're doing is rereading. I think it's all about like making questions for yourself and testing yourself. That's the secret.
Damn.
What do you reckon?
I've never been more inspired to study now. I think, I agree. Reading and questioning, because I feel like, I'm just having like some weird like therapy session right now. Because in A-level, I used to do that. I used to read and do essay plan. But when you do an essay plan, you're questioning yourself. But now all I do is read. Because they tell us to read.
They've got a lot of stuff to read, But
oh my god.
try reading and recording.
Okay, Fingers crossed, guys, get a good grade this year. Thanks for this video.
Cool. So we talked about essay plans, we talked about spaced repetition, we talked about active recall. Thank you very much. This has been really
Thank
fun.
you. I am gonna be copying all these videos. This is the one thing, and this is the other thing. Right? Everyone says like, how do you study? How do you study? I did a whole video on this, like, and it's the only video I can make because that's what all the tips are. Do you know what I mean? I can't constantly make more videos. I feel like you have to stick to what you know is good for you and use that. And I think these tips are like really good.
Yeah. Good job. And there's going to be a series on this channel in the next few weeks where I'm going to be talking about like the evidence base behind all these things. Because like for me, I studied this in second and third year, and I found that when I understood what the evidence was behind it, and stuff like, you know, whether you should listen to music while studying, and whether it's good to highlight, and whether it's good to make notes.
Should you listen to music while
Short answer, probably not. Instrumentals are okay. Music with lyrics is worse.
Yeah.
But to be honest, if listening to music helps you motivate yourself to work, then that probably overrides any.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be, you know, evidence-based behind that. So we'll talk about the research, and if you're into that sort of thing, you might want to watch that. But otherwise, this should hopefully have given you a fairly broad overview. Spaced repetition, active recall, essay plans.
Bam.
That's the game.
If you get good grades, make sure you remember us. So when you become successful, you can donate money.
Yes. Well, our Patreon will be linked. Will be linked somewhere.
Do you have one?
No, I don't.
I might get one.
I think you should.
I don't think no one will donate.
I think that could fund your degree pretty much.
All my followers are poor.
Oh yeah, true, students. But then you've got loads of university students as well.
They're poorer.
But then when they graduate, like in a year's or two's time, and they're on these high-flying city jobs with their Cambridge degrees.
And they're gynecologists.
And the gynecologists who get sued.
And they get
part-time. Yeah. We'll be alright. We'll be alright. But yeah, thanks very much for watching,
guys. Bye.
See you in the next video. Bye.